Hey guys, how you doing? It's me again, Fred. Today I want to speak about an email that I actually sent to my professor at UNISA. Here's what I said, and here's this email. You tell me if this is fair or not. I didn't get a reply, but anyway. Good day, Professor. I would like to start by saying thank you for the effort you put into teaching CSL. I have learned a lot due to your commitment. I would, however, like to query the mark of 0 that I received for my CSL assessment on the grounds that I cited all my sources. I received a 0 because my AI percentage was 25%. You encouraged us to reach out and show where we got the answers we gave, and that is fair, but I did cite every answer, so I'm not sure if the citing was the issue. As far as the way I answered the questions is concerned, I only managed to listen to the recorded classes, in brackets, open brackets, where you described in detail how to answer it, close brackets. After submitting, after submitting, so I understand I may have not answered it to your specifications. Nevertheless, I would rather accept the lower mark than I wanted or normally receive as opposed to a 0. I would greatly appreciate it if you could relook at my assessment and consider remarking it because it will help with my final year mark. I highly respect yours and UNISA's requirements for academic integrity as well as my responsibility to adhere to it. If I may, I would like to comment on the AI issue. This is not to make excuses for myself, but just some interesting info you may or may not be privy to. I keep abreast of the AI industry as it is an interest of mine, and I have also taken the time to read up on AI detectors. A few known issues could be: 1. In the final class we had with you, Chrisma, the student, brought up the fact that it's been said people have uploaded papers that were written before AI LLMs existed and were still flagged. So, aka, there's been a study which says there were papers written like a long time ago with pencil and paper, and they were flagged by AI as AI content when they were scanned, some of these. This does not apply to me, or this is number 2, another thing. This does not apply to me, but seeing as UNISA has many students who don't have English as a first language, it could also shed some light for others. And then I pasted a link there, which was something that said people who are not native English speakers are biased by AI detectors because of the way they use their language. So AI seems to think it's AI. All this being said, that's just 2 examples. All this being said, I think it's important for universities like UNISA to think about including students into the conversation about AI, as opposed to simply highlighting UNISA's awareness of it and consequences of using it. It's something that is not going away and will only become more prominent. This also includes newer tools that the university may not be able to keep up with. With the direction the world is moving in, there will soon be much less of a distinction between human intelligence and artificial intelligence, and also much less of a need to distinguish. Most of the current students will work in a different type of legal service industry than currently exists. And then I put another link there. I think that was to some NBC report from America. That's the news channel in America, NBC, or MSDNC as Donald Trump calls it.
Meet Victoria and Daniel, the official AI avatars for the Arizona Supreme Court. In the legal system, just as Timmer points out, the law profession is already using AI every day for things like research to document review and analysis.
I come here today a humble pro se before a panel.
One plaintiff in New York even trying to use AI to argue his case before a skeptical appeals panel.
Which said that the certain courts using AI judges or something like that. I feel tertiary institutions need to prepare for this and not attempt to avoid it. I think allowing students to be open about how and why they use AI can be enlightening to UNISA and also lead to some alternative solutions to be used in conjunction with Turnitin. Thank you for your time. Kind regards, Fred Angasisye. Some other interesting articles on this subject are listed below, and then I gave her some other links. Now you tell me, what do you think, especially you, if you're studying law or you're studying anything right now, or even if you're just interested in this, or a parent or anything like that, or faculty member for that matter, what do you think about this?
Why can't examiners run students' essays through AI detectors like Scribr and Grammarly?
So those can be there is some merit to those tools, but they only ever kind of provide a surface claim of AI use. And what I maintain is that when students deny having used AI, even those systems, they're kind of tracking based on like linguistic and language structure, which can't be definitively proven. I've also kind of read that there are some concerns that second language English speakers, their work often, even those who might have done it authentically, often is flagged incorrectly as having been generated by AI. They simply aren't foolproof. And when a student denies using them, despite having used them throughout 3 years of a degree, there's simply no way we can prove otherwise.
Well, you can ask oral questions, but that's not always possible. A couple of well-placed oral questions will determine very, very quickly if the student has engaged with the work to the extent that the proffered essay suggests.
I've certainly used that strategy with my honours and master's students. However, what we find with undergraduate modules is that in South Africa universities, undergraduate modules can have anywhere from 200 students to 1,000 students, or at one particularly large university, 10,000 students on a module, where students are submitting this kind of written text that could very easily have been mimicked by AI. And when you have 200 students or 1,000 students, and certainly 10,000, there's no way you can kind of implement those sorts of strategies.
It's so futile to be having these discussions where you get on and you speak about how much it's showing up in students' work. It's going to show up. Most of the time you won't even detect it. And they're talking about how they want to do away with these AI similarity checkers because it's like, what's the point now? You're going to fail half of the class. Colleges and universities, especially in South Africa and countries which are not as developed, seem not to understand the impact that AI is about to have or is already having on higher learning and also the fields that you're studying for. At UNISA, they have a program called Turn It In. And essentially what this program does is it detects AI. One of my assignments for constitutional law, for some reason, it picked up quite a lot of AI, just slightly above the threshold, which I think was like 30% or something. And therefore, I received a 0 for my assignment. My professors are all pretty established in the law field, but know nothing about, for the most part, AI or technology. So when they are using this technology, they're basically just subject to whatever it tells them to do. And then when they explain to you why they use it and how they use it, you can tell it's just been given to them by the Turn It In people. When you go on the website, it tells you like, this is extremely accurate, but obviously cannot be guaranteed, which is obvious because the information that you're putting in is from the net and it's been trained by LLMs are trained by from information from the internet, which is the exact same information that students are using. How prepared are universities for the world that we are living in right now? Not even the world that's coming. These AIs, this LLMs, ChatGPT and that's the basics. Let's take law, for example, the law field. Soon, lawyers are not going to be that necessary. Already, there's companies like Harvey. That's, by the way, it's named after Harvey from the show Suits. That pretty much making lawyers unnecessary in America, and it's taking a lot of jobs because of the legal processing that it does. Now, Harvey's created by lawyers, and it's also created for lawyers. It actually helps with admin, which of course there's a lot of in the law profession. But soon already there are going to be programs which are actually replacing lawyers. I heard a talk, I'm going to put the link in the description, the other day. Are LLMs going to help lawyers do their work better?
Long-term AI in law is not about equipping lawyers. It's about empowering non-lawyers to conduct legal work for themselves.
You need to be a lawyer to know if you need a lawyer.
Yeah.
That's going to change.
Yes, absolutely. We are essentially equipping many of our young lawyers for the 20th century rather than for the 21st century. Who develops these systems? Who ensures they're up to date? Who tests these systems? We as humans, as we've done throughout the history of humanity, will respond to opportunities and adapt as necessary.
The full picture is that eventually the problems we're trying to solve are going to be solved by AI. So when you talk about lawyers, when you talk about doctors, when you talk about accountants, what problem do they solve? Let's say in medicine. In medicine, doctors, they're not an intrinsic feature in humankind. No one's born a doctor with a stethoscope around their necks. We created doctors. Why? We created the medical field. Why? Because there's such a problem as disease. And because of disease, we had to create this field of people who are experts in treating these diseases. But anyway, we created them specifically for that field. Therefore, if we can solve disease, then we don't even need to worry about, oh no, is AI going to replace doctors? We won't even need doctors. If AI stops disease, then we won't even need doctors. And that's the same thing with law. If AI stops bad contracts, if AI goes over company compliance as you're creating your company, and it picks up things in your compliance on your website and things which are not correct and corrects them and tells you what to correct, you won't even get into the position where you will need to need a lawyer, because you won't even get into a position where someone can sue you. You know what I'm saying? So we're solving the problem upstream as compared to downstream. Here's an email that I wrote to Professor after that unfortunate assessment or assignment, because I thought to myself, well, let me at least, because I have a little bit of knowledge about the stuff, just because I'm an autodidact and I've been wanting to learn, let me maybe I could help. But obviously the thing they say about academics is actually true. It's not a stereotype. It's like they enjoy knowledge, but they don't enjoy application. And they were talking about how they want to do away with these AI similarity checkers, because it's like, what's the point now? You're going to fail half of the class. That's not what you should be doing. We're playing defense once again in Africa. We should be playing offense. We should be saying, well, what can we create that's going to aid these students who are going to be working in a world where AI is being used and is disrupting their jobs, because it's disrupting education as we speak. So if your solution is to go, oh, just ignore it and say no, then you're actually putting the students at a disadvantage, because by the time they're done, especially let's say someone's in first year right now, by the time they're done, Lord knows in 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, what advances would be made, if there'll even be a need for their services. The best thing you can do is have a course as well that teaches people about how AI is disrupting their specific course and industries. But anyway, you tell me what you think and comment below, and like and subscribe if you found this of any value. Thanks.